Yes, Robin. I don't know, it's pretty, okay, fine. Okay. That was code for, I don't know, bring me tequila. Don't tell anyone. Okay, so what shall we talk about? How about this is a perfect segue, not really, but...
Tequila.
Yes, well, tequila might be the end result of, have you ever felt like giving up? See? That's perfect.
Never.
That it's all impossible. Like, what the heck are you doing with your life? That the business, this business in particular, is too hard to penetrate. First of all, you're not alone. I think that is on a daily basis. And all we can do is try to rewire here so that when that stuff gets triggered, you don't get thrown, you know, completely off of your path. But I had a very interesting experience with a friend of mine. A lot of you guys know Nicola. He's one of my closest friends. He's probably my dearest friend. About a little bit about this. And I'm going to come back to that in a second, but I think the interesting thing is, first of all, let me just quash any worries about the fact that, yes, sometimes as human beings we want to give up and we don't see what the point is and we feel like there's no way in and the business is so hard and you can't catch a break. But I think it's important to remember the spirit of who you are. Listen, again, I always say it, but it's true. When I think about myself in terms of the cosmos, that is the power you wield, for sure. Atomically, the same stuff that birthed this entire planet, the entire cosmos that we are orbiting in, that stardust atomically is within you. So you contain these properties of infinitude. It's such a good word, of infinity. We don't often feel like that when we think about how hard the business is. But the physics of this business is no different than any other business. It's hard to understand that because maybe, like for me, I've just been doing this for so long, and maybe a lot of you guys have been in the business for a long time, so you don't know anything other. But listen, the physics of moving through rejection is the same. There's always going to be nepotism. There's always going to be, you know, a class system involved in all segments of life. There's always going to be people who get free handouts. There's always going to be, what is that thing called, the boys club? What's that called? Like the inner boys club?
Good old boys club.
The good old boys club, right? That you feel like you're trying to get into. But that exists everywhere. But for some reason, and I know why, but for some reason, because you personalize it, you think that this industry somehow defies all other sort of the physics of success versus rejection ratio. And I'm telling you, that's not the truth. That's just the illusion because you're constantly putting yourself out there and you're hearing arbitrary reasons of why you can't, it's not going to happen for you, you're too this, or you're too that, or you're too that, or you're too this. And I think the important thing to be liberated from is the physics of it don't support that being any different than anything else. So if that's the case, there is a way to overcome the statistics, which is getting back to this realization. So I was talking to my friend Nicola, and he was saying how he's just got dropped by his managers. He was with a really good manager, and he said he feels like he's back at square one. It made me really sad, and I said, how dare you, don't do that to yourself. You can't allow other people, you cannot take other people's limitations and put them on you. You just cannot. Because you know what, listen you guys, the other thing about that is so maddening to me is we live in a culture that everyone is expecting somebody to tell them what the next thing is. These are the new cool jeans to wear. This is the #1 hit you should listen to. This is, you know, where you should go on vacation. So we're easily swayed by what other people say. And so when you begin to realize that nobody is the arbiter of your own potential, nobody is. Even though you think that's the truth, it's not. And just if you don't believe me, think about your own life. So what I said to him is, I said, if you really believe that you're back at square one, just think about what you have overcome just to get here, to be here on this planet. And Nicola would be embarrassed if he heard me saying this probably, but you know, at the age of, I don't know, he overcome his dad's death at a very young age. He came to America when he was a teenager from a war-torn country in Serbia. He didn't speak hardly any English. He lived in the middle of the Midwest. He self-tutored himself. He went to Harvard School, Harvard Law, or Harvard, wherever, one of the Harvards. He graduated with honors. He started his own business, was very successful, and then later in life now has explored this whole thing called acting because a part of him wanted to become an artist. Look at that's infinity. That's the possibility of who we are. And your own life may not be that, your own journey is not that as specific as his, but look at what if you could just for a moment take a road down, a path down memory lane, look at what you've overcome just to be where you are. Can you do that for just 1 nanosecond? To sort of self-acknowledge, wow, the potential of me is limitless. Look at what I've had to get through in life just to be showing up. So you guys, I think it's really important, as Picasso said, I am seeking, I am striving, I am in it with all my heart. That quote just really totally slays me. I am seeking, I am striving, I am in it with all my heart. But be in it fully, totally. Don't be in it passive-aggressively, which means you give yourself the hook, by not really jumping in with both feet, just kind of dabbing a toe. Not people here at the studio, I think, are fully in it because that's what the work requires of you. But maybe even in your own life, you realize where you need to be taking a deeper leap, all in. All in all areas, in relationships, in feelings, in your own personal growth, in the work, in the business, all parts of it, all in. Because a passive-aggressive approach is just a word that I came up with meaning you want to be aggressive-aggressive, and aggressive-aggressive just means really fully, willfully, and full of perseverance. As opposed to passive-aggressive, which is if you have an out, then you're going to use that out to come up with all these reasons why it's not working for you. You get what I'm saying? Yeah, no, it's just, well, I never got a free shake anyway. I never got that break that I deserved. You're giving yourself an out, so that's passive-aggressive. Be in it fully. I am seeking, I am striving, I am in it with all my heart. And let me just end with this. From my first book, because the second book is coming out next month. I'm very excited. Yes, but here, I love this quote. And I have some Australian visitors who are staying with me right now, and they reminded me of this really great quote from another Australian actress, who I think prior to her breakthrough, nobody would have even known who Naomi Watts was. Nobody knew who Naomi Watts was, and then she got in Mulholland Drive, and now the rest is history. But it's so interesting. Had she listened to all the people telling her all the reasons why it wasn't going to happen for her, we would have never had a Naomi Watts, because she was about ready to quit. Hear this story, and we'll end with this. My agents were continuing to send me out for pilots. I had no money, no health insurance, and I was going out on all these auditions for things I didn't believe in, but that I was desperate for because I needed the work. As a result, I was shaky and intense and nervous and laughing or smiling too much, and I was making people uncomfortable. It was awkward. So my then agent called me in and sat me down, and in some ways it was great because she did this because it put me back into a take charge of the situation mode. But she said, "Honey, you're a great actress, and I believe in you. So I took it upon myself to ask these people what's going on because you should be working. And they're saying that you're too intense, that you want it too much." And then she asked me, "Are you worried about your age?" And I was like, come on, guys, leave my age out of it. And I just started sobbing uncontrollably, like I'd reached absolute rock bottom. So I went back to my tiny little apartment in Venice, California, and my mom, who was staying with me at the time, was like, "Don't believe these people, Naomi. They cannot define you. They don't know you. So what if you're desperate and strange in the room? Of course you are. You're human." That is, to me, so inspiring. Yes, and what am I always teaching? What you are, your humanity, is what we want to see. So, okay, remember, you're a ninja. You're all ninjas. You don't realize it. Every single one of you in this room is a ninja! Wax on, wax off.